Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Chronicles of Choices. Oh, Boju, yes or no? This podcast speaks to our decision-making process that leads to the choices that we make. It's all about what we relinquish for what we have and the impact of such choices. It also touches the choices that other people make on our behalf and the choices we make on behalf of others and the impact of such choices. Whether we make the choices ourselves, whether we make those choices on behalf of other people, whether other people make those choices on our behalf. The question is, what is the impact? I am Dr. Tiffany Oloke, also known as Dr. T. Follow me as we tea and listen together. Thank you. But too late to say Happy New Year. At least probably till the end of first quarter, we can say Happy New Year. So dear fans, welcome to episode 2, season 1 again. My name is Tiffany, and today we'll be talking about your core values. What are your core values? These are just preliminary, the fundamental beliefs that you have. Those beliefs that shape and guide your actions and your decisions. These are those values that gives you sort of a fulfilling life, kind of. And it also shapes who you are. It shapes your actions. It shapes your reactions. Because remember, we just have to act. And on the other hand, we just have to react. So these are the values that shapes us and makes us who we are. These are also the values that people perceive us as, meaning that people look at you based on your values. People interact with you based on your values. People deal with you based on your values. These are not usually the values you tell people about. Most times people notice these values that you have, and it's more of like unspoken value kind of. Unless you are being put to the mic and you're being asked, what are your core values? Then you can talk about your values. But most times I've seen people live up to their character and their behavior and their morals based on their values. What are those values? How does values shape our lives and give us that logo, that brand, that identification of who we are? I have been in the space of core values for a while, just understanding what my core values are. And they have personally helped me to understand exactly who I am and also gives me that room of that WIP, which is more or less like the work in progress kind of thing, and where I want to be. And as such, my values give me who I am kind of image right now, and they also prepare me and move me forward to who exactly I want to be. In simple terms, your values can make you who you are, and your values can give you aspiration to be a better person. So today we're just going to talk about our core values. Remember, it's all about choices, right? It's the chronicles of choices. It's the chronicles of choices that leads you to those core values. Most of these values are definitely very important. Like I said before, it's a tag, it's a brand that people notice us with, people see us with, and it also shapes how people communicate with us, how people relate with us, and how people identify us. So today we're just quickly going to run through some of these core values. And to be honest with you, some of us, we don't have to really identify these core values prior to us just finding out who we are. Meaning that at times you just open your eyes one morning and all of a sudden you have a definite idea of who you are. You have a definite name to who you are, meaning that certain things will happen in your life that would shape who you are, that would give you that identification of this is who I am. Like resilience, for instance. A lot of us don't think we have resilience, at least up to the required value. I don't know the scale of measurement for how much resilience we have or we need to be able to cope with issues of life. So, for instance, if I'm talking about resilience, until something happens to you, until you go through a situation in life, then you understand the true definition of resilience. You would understand the difference between just pulling back and throwing the towel, or keep pressing forward to the end of the fence for you to have your championship medal. So resilience is one thing that probably we just discover, and you're looking back and you're like, oh, that was the power of resilience, you know? Oh, how did I go through that? And just to say that at times we have these identified core values, and at times we pick them up and we identify by them, by ourselves in the course of life. And we keep adding and adding and adding. Whether you're talking about the professional sphere, whether you're talking about your personal life, core values do help. I've been in so many situations whereby probably I needed to make decisions and I stood by my core values. My core values really helped me make those decisions at that time. It gives you just that fairness to your space of decision making. And I think it's very important that we have core values. So this season 2, we'll be talking a lot about core values. How we choose our core values, how we live with our core values, the expectation that other people have once we identify with our core values. At times we drop them. Why do we drop our core values? And why do we have to measure how good we are with our core values? Personally, I'm just going to tell you, probably I have like 20 core values. And one thing that people tell me every time, it's that level of compassion. Compassion is key for me because compassion just puts me in a place of awareness of other people's needs and their struggles and their trials. And not only that, then it takes me to the second level of how can I support? How can I be there for you? You know, at times as believers, we love to say things like, it is well with you. It is well with you. You know, we'll be praying for you. And people say that from a far place. And the true presence of being there with people when they need you is my own act of compassion. Being there for people. So most people look at me and tell me, Tiffany, you're really compassionate. In your words, in how you deal with people, you're very compassionate. And to be honest with you, I think I can do better. I can do better in that area of compassion. But to be very honest with you, I know that compassion is very, very important. Compassion is key for me because, like I said, it gives me that awareness of how other people are feeling or how other people are living their life, even in the midst of struggles and trials and pain and all those things happening in and out, instability and all that. And not just identifying that, but being able to support them. One thing that I've noticed also, and it's probably the second, is accountability. I love to be accountable and I love to be people to be accountable to me. It's a role of responsibility if you look at it. Being accountable is very important. The checks and the marks, they call them checks and balances. I love that. Checking to see where things are, making sure, and being able to account to people. When you give me a task, when you trust me with something, I want to be accountable. I want to be able to refer back to you to give you like a feedback kind of thing. So accountability is something that I know that I've built over years and make sure that I have to a certain level. And it has helped me a lot. One thing I would also talk about is faith. Faith is one of my core values. Trusting God in all seasons I can't even undermine that. And to be honest with you, I think my faith, the core value of my faith stands at number one. In all the core values that I have. Because to be honest with you, my faith is what propels me on a higher level of that compassion, on that level of that accountability, on that level of just living a fulfilling life through supporting others. And empathy. Empathy is something that I also have. You know, at times I weigh the difference between compassion and empathy. But I think that empathy is something that God has really blessed me to have. You have to be empathetic. Most times, sympathy does not really help. It's okay to sympathize with people, but to have true empathy, putting yourself in people's shoes and responding accordingly. Most of us, we don't have that. Am I still improving in that area? Yes, I'm still improving in that area. And I think the empathy is where it leads into that emotional intelligence, where people look up to you for emotional intelligence. As a leader, as a head, as a subordinate, I think empathy, it's something that is very important. I don't know how people live without empathy. I don't know what goes through people's mind, but I think empathy is very important. So as I round up this episode, this is just an introduction into this season 2, episode 1, where we'll be talking about core values. I'm gonna come every 2 weeks, as promised in the introduction, and we're gonna talk about our values. And please, if you have any question, please go to tiffanyoloke.com and send me your questions about core values or any question you have soever, and I'll be able to respond to you. And just to let you know, your core values shapes you. So choosing your core values systematically, intentionally is very important. As you grow personally, professionally, otherwise, your core values, your identifier. From the Chronicles of Choices, Okpochu, yes or no? Be the paladin of your decisions through your choices. Be the paladin of your story. And be the paladin of your life. Till another tea and listen with Dr. T. Just be kind to yourself. Be kind to others. And love regardless.